And we're back. Welcome back to the
We're
GORUCK
back to
Show.
continuation of, more appropriately, 2 weeks ago, because you were up doing something awesome.
Yeah, you did the GORUCK Show last week without me, yeah? How'd it go?
It was, I don't know, they probably think
Would you feel like you were stretching your legs a little bit? Like,
I did it over there across the room. We talked about gear and stuff.
Yeah?
It was the best one ever with me on it.
Best, and
Bomber was on
Bomber
a little
filled
bit.
in
He popped in.
dutifully.
Yeah, you mean you weren't watching it from your negative, how cold was it in Maine?
I think 17 below was the coldest it got when we were there.
So
It was real cold.
I'm cold today.
It's legitimately
I'm
cold in
cold.
Jack's Beach today. Legit. It was
Yeah.
I think it was 31 this morning when I got up.
Yeah.
That's cold.
The sun does help, not gonna lie. The Sunshine State.
The wind is
comes
not
through
helping
again.
though.
The wind does not help. So on the bike ride to work with the tailwind, great, not a problem. Barely have to even pedal, right? Now the way back, that's a different story.
So that goes. All of our good friends up in the Northeast right now, really the whole East Coast, are just getting it's just ripping snow onto the East Coast right now.
Yeah.
It's good. Have fun. Enjoy your snow day.
I mean, what, population growth, Florida? It's happening. By the
It's
way,
going
GORUCK's
right.
hiring. It's awesome here.
Yeah.
Like to work hard, like to play hard, do awesome stuff, great.
Enjoy the sunshine. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
What are we talking about today?
Resolutions.
Oh, it's the new year, isn't it?
It's the
I
new
missed
year.
that.
Yeah.
So, what's
So-
your New Year's resolution, Jason?
So,
Actually, let's take a step back. Yes, New Year's resolutions, yes or no? Because this is actually a point of contention amongst a lot of people that I hang out with anyway. Like, is it even worth doing? Are they a real thing? Are they a waste of time? Should we be more evolved and just resolve to do things every day, or what's the deal?
yeah, I hear all of these things about, if you're just more disciplined every day, then you don't need a New Year's resolution type stuff. Like, just be more perfect every day and you'll never need a resolution because you're already just,
Look at my Iron Man watch. It's 4:30 right now. Look at that.
right? And that's cool, got it. If you're so awesome that you don't need to look back, to look forward. And look, I like the look back, I like the look forward.
Yeah.
And somewhere in the middle, what I don't want to feel is trapped. Because New Year's resolutions have turned into, hey, all the marketers with all the clickbait shaming you into telling you all the stuff that you should do to have a happier, better life. It's sort of like, why don't they just say, hey, you should look at more ads on Facebook while you cycle through your friends' beautiful pictures of their perfect lives, which, oh, by the way, aren't actually perfect either, because nobody's life is perfect. Yeah, what? Right? So, this idea of a resolution of, I'm going to lose 20 pounds because someone shamed me into it because, the girl on the cover of the magazine is whatever, or I'm going to squat 900 pounds or bench press, 10,000 pounds or whatever. I mean, it's like, why don't you just say that? I'm going to bench press 10,000 pounds, 1 rep max. I'm going to do it, right? I mean, come on, it's not going to happen. I mean, almost nobody's resolutions come to fruition. First off, because there's no midway year check-in on how the resolution's doing. And third off, because we set these goals that we feel shamed into doing, or too many of us do or have, and it's sort of not my thing. So I don't want to feel trapped. What I do want to do is say, hey, here's some stuff I want to do this year. That's fun for me.
Yeah.
Look forward to the planning, not feel shamed into the having to do something that, because if you say, hey, I want to go on an awesome adventure this year, and to get to the top of Machu Picchu or a 14er in Colorado, or go do something, go travel the world for whatever, I mean, you're probably going to want to prepare for that. There's going to be a process that you'll have buy-in doing.
Yeah.
As opposed to I'm going to wake up every morning at 3 and chew on a can of protein powder and like get to dripping towel sweat everywhere all over the place. I mean, it's probably not going to happen actually.
Man, you're hitting on a lot of stuff there. We could just probably close it down.
Boom.
I'll try to summarize the show.
Done.
So the first thing you said, I thought that really clicked for me, was that, are you resolving to do something that's actually for you, or are you just kind of co-opting or adopting something that someone's sort of given to you as what's a good resolution, to lose weight or get fit or that kind of thing, save money? All those things are fine and great, by the way, and I think we should resolve to do them. But I think the place to start is it something that you actually want to do? Have you looked back? Have you reflected enough to know kind of where you're at and what you want looking forward. And then you can make a resolution to do something that is really meaningful to you and not just sort of a garden variety kind of run-of-the-mill resolution. So that was the first thing. But the other thing that you mentioned is like, what's the check-in process? Like, is it mid-year? Is it every month? I mean, you wouldn't run your business saying, our goal is to do this. We want to make this much money this year. How will we know if we've made it? I don't know. We'll check at the end of the year. Like, that probably wouldn't work that well, right? Like, you got to check in like every day, every week.
Ask me how I know sometimes.
I know from experience, if you know what I mean. Shit doesn't work. But so, yeah, I mean, I think having something that you can actually keep up with a little bit over time is really important too. But I mean, the last piece that you said that I really like is that if you have a resolution to do something that's like an adventure, to go and actually do something, you get this really good benefit of the planning and the looking forward to it. Like, that's a real thing. I didn't used to really understand that or totally believe it until I got a little older and my adventures started to get a little bit fewer and further between. And then I would get something on the calendar for 4 or 5 months down the road, a vacation or something like that. And I'd be like, man, I can't wait until we go on this trip. And then I would spend 2 or 3 months looking forward to it and anticipating it and like planning it, looking at the surf report or doing whatever. And it occurred to me that I'm getting a lot of benefit out of this trip before I ever even go on it, because I'm just kind of looking forward to it. And I find that is fun and inspiring, whereas if my goal is some destination and like losing a certain amount of weight or whatever, it doesn't feel like light and fun to think about it. It's like, ugh, is this beer gonna derail me on my goal to lose 20 pounds? Yeah, like it's not the same thing.
What's gonna happen when I step on the scale before I go to bed? And
yeah, you're like dreading it.
Yeah,
I call it like the eagle versus the gargoyle kind of thing, right? Like having a goal that you actually follow. Stay with me.
You always come out with this. I call it this, right?
Yeah, because I just make
it's awesome.
stuff up.
Like, okay, this is great. Let's go. Do
I
tell.
hope someone's writing this stuff
Eagle
down.
versus the gargoyle.
Yeah.
Do tell.
So, in the Blayne Smith Book of Metaphors, there's the eagle and the gargoyle. And so the eagle is like, imagine you get up every morning and there's something that you really feel motivated and inspired to do, that it gets you out of bed in the morning and it's work, but you want to go out your front door and chase after it. So like imagine you have like a bald eagle sitting on your mailbox, right?
America.
Yeah, right? So you go out the front door and you see on top of your mailbox this majestic bald eagle sitting there like, hey Jason, good morning. You're awesome. We're going to do this today. Like, rah, right? It's great. You're fired up. What's funny about that? That's what eagles do, right? So the eagle's there to motivate you and inspire you, and you look forward to seeing it every morning. But if you have one of these goals that's just like hanging over you, it's not really like an aspirational goal. It's just like something you adopted. It's like someone told you you're supposed to lose some weight, or supposed
Eat
to do
more
this.
kale and
yeah, right.
Stuff like that.
Then eventually,
Kale used to have its proper place at the salad bar of Pizza Hut. The garnish.
It was never at the salad bar at Pizza Hut.
Of course it was. Go back and
just
look.
the garnish. The garnish.
Yeah,
okay.
the garnish. It was the green stuff around the edible stuff, right? That was kale, right? It's so rancid, kale is. Everyone is so shamed into eating it, but nobody, I'm convinced that 0.001% of the people actually like it, and they have convinced themselves of how good it is. I mean, I grew up watching Popeye. Spinach is awesome, right? I didn't necessarily want it all the time as a kid, but now I'm like, spinach, great. Popeye, that's awesome. Kale,
Marketing.
do not feel the same way. Superfood my ass.
All right. I'm glad we got that off your chest. So anyway, what's it talking about? Okay, the eagle and the gargoyle. Yeah. So if you have a goal or something that's like hanging over you, that you feel kind of shamed into it, or you're not keeping up with it,
like going to the Pizza Hut buffet and eating all the garnish.
Yeah, exactly. So every day you come out your front door and the eagle starts to like morph a little more, and it starts to look more like a gargoyle. You know what I mean? Like the gargoyle is like this thing that's just like watching over you. Like, I see you eating that pizza. You should be eating the kale. How many beers have you had today? You're never gonna meet your weight loss goal. Like you don't want that in your life, whatever it is. Like you don't want your goal or your resolution or whatever the case may be, call it what you want. You don't want it to be this freaking gargoyle sitting on the eve of your house or on your mailbox every morning when you go up and start up your car to be like, I'm watching you, you're not doing the right thing. Like, Don't do that to yourself. You don't need that. Put something out there that's exciting, that you actually care about, that you're willing to work a little bit for, or like spend a little money on, or whatever you have to do. Like, have it be something that is, you know, a motivation to you and is attractive to you. You want to see every day when you open your front door, not something you're like peeking out the corner. You're like pieing the corner of your front door, like, oh, it's still there. Shit. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So there you go. Eagle versus the gargoyle. You're welcome. And sound effects are not included, so you got to get those separately.
Yeah, along with the color commentary of the Pizza Hut buffet. You got it.
Okay, so I don't know. Do we agree that resolutions are sort of
It's
not a requirement, but it's not necessary, but they have their place. Because I've been on both sides of this equation, by the way. I've been like super goal oriented, writing down all my stuff, and I've also been like, resolutions are for schmucks. If I want to do something, I'll just start doing it today. Why would I wait for the New Year's? And I've kind of come back to the middle, where it's like, I don't want to be driving myself to some goal all the time, but I don't think they suck. I think there's probably have their place.
The word has just become, hey, your resolution is you're going to lose 20 pounds and be the new you, right?
It's like
you're going to
be Mother's Day. It's
more beautiful and more perfect and all of these things that people shame.
This is the year.
This is the year, the new you. Just for $99.99 a month. Put it on your credit card, recurring of course, but you can opt out anytime unless you can't, right? Because there's lots of small print, doesn't matter. Just put your credit card down and join this thing, and it's practically all your problems go away. You're happy now.
Why don't we have a subscription model at GORUCK?
Yeah.
That's a gold mine.
Yeah, we'll give you a new, social media thing for yourself every. We'll Photoshop your face onto some adventures that everyone else is having, and you can just say you were there. Doesn't that sound awesome?
GORUCK Sock of the Month Club?
Yeah, awesome.
No? I mean, you guys write in and let us know. If we could get some kind of like $9.99 a month subscription model, I mean, it would really be a huge revenue boon for the company.
Yeah, that's the
kind
kind of way we want to build it too, right? We'll give you, it's sort of, when you've seen those picture things where there's the cutout of the head or whatever, we'll
the
find.
Head's cut out, or there's a cutout of a head? Because I've seen
Yeah,
both.
sorry. The head's, yeah, what I meant was there's a cutout where your head goes and then you take the picture, right?
Okay, yep.
And sort of, we'll do that except digitally for you. So you don't actually have to go on the adventures. You can focus on losing 20 pounds this year. But we'll give you the Photoshopped version of yourself at all these mountaintops and all these things. We'll give you the narrative. We'll change it up, make it yours, right? It's custom plan, like custom adventure $9.99 plan, recurring on your credit card. You can opt out unless you can't. There's lots of small print.
Well,
doesn't
notarized
matter,
letter,
right?
Written in.
Yes,
mailed.
yes. We'll do all that for you because we work for you, and you can focus on losing the 20 pounds. Doesn't that sound awesome?
I'm sorry to anyone out there who's trying to lose 20 pounds this year. I mean, it's a perfectly legitimate resolution, and I sincerely encourage you to do so if that's what you need to do, Bomber. But, I mean...
You're not the only one saying it. Bomber's doctor intervened. Boom. How you like them apples?
Coming out of the gates hot.
I told Bomber what the weight loss plan was. The weight loss plan is real simple. Every time you get hungry, drink another Budweiser.
Jason is not a doctor.
You
does
will
not play well on YouTube,
absolutely.
so
Your stomach will shrink, and you will absolutely lose weight.
I don't know.
You'll pass out so many times throughout the day. I mean.
Oh God. Okay. So
all these caveats and stuff from the legal department. Jason's not a doctor. All these things,
None of that is true. So resolutions, yes or no? Do you have one?
Yeah, but
less existential. Let's
yeah,
bring it down,
but nothing that comes before the but matters. Okay. Yes, I just don't really get shamed into this idea of this is what you ought to do. It's more, I want to change the meaning of the word, right?
So do you take some time at the end
Absolutely.
of every year to reflect back on
Yes.
the previous year and to think about what you want to do next year?
Yes.
Okay.
And so because, business and love and life and war, all these things are the same. I mean, oftentimes it's easy to focus on the company or that. It's been a huge central force in my life.
Is it a big part of your life, GORUCK?
For a decade now.
Okay.
And so it's easy to say, hey, these are the company goals and all these things. the point of that, I guess, is that it's forced me every year to look at the company, and so the look back to look forward is just it's second nature now. The personal side of it, I mean, I still kind of integrate into what GORUCK does and who we are. I mean, I believe in the way of life that we represent and espouse and all those things, and so they're similar, but yet trying to remove a little bit of I don't want my goals for 2018 to be purely, hey, let's grow this much, or let's do these couple things that we have to do, or whatever. So the personal side for me, I want to stand around a fire in freezing ass cold Grand Canyon with a beer with some buddies. We're doing that this weekend. That's
I can deliver that one for you.
That's exciting. You know, knock on wood. Hopefully, I don't know.
Flights and snow.
Flights, who knows?
It'll be fun.
Murphy can always strike, but we're en route. We leave tomorrow. My GR3 was sitting right here that I'm taking. By the way, GR3 is live?
Live, totally live.
GR3 is live. My GR3 was sitting right here. Emily had to, Emily grabbed it, whatever, no big deal. She wanted to get some brag heavy training in. Awesome, good for her. That's on her list, brag heavy. The other thing is I want to ruck 50 miles in DC in under 20 hours. It's the old Teddy Roosevelt challenge to military folks, military officers specifically. And so want to do that. That's going to be a bigger deal though. We're going to make a big deal about that because it's going to be a thing. You heard it here second because I think I put it in the newsletter, right?
Always the second with the big news stories.
Yeah. And then also going to go down to Colombia and do some hiking, which is also known as rucking in the mountains. And so there's some
in the canyons.
Good little in the canyons. Some good adventure down there. Em and I are going, and that's going to be awesome. Everyone can come to DC. Nobody can come to Colombia with us. So that's going to be. So what else? There's always little stuff. Hey, here's the things I want to do. I never went to a Jacksonville Suns game my entire life, right? It's the AA ball club here. They became the Jumbo Shrimp.
Woo!
Very well supported, by the way.
You change your name to something so sort of ridiculous, and it goes back to sort of some of the peacocking theory of if you're in a city and you don't want to be recognized or acknowledged, sometimes the best thing to do is to just be so crazy that nobody would think that, like, if you're trying too hard to blend in, you're oftentimes wrong. Yeah. If you're peacocking, that can't possibly be, this serious person. Anyway, I digress again.
That's a good TTP for you there.
It's actually a taut one.
Yeah.
But that's all right.
So, Colombia, 50 miles in DC.
Grand Canyon. I want, but easier ones.
Jumbo Shrimp.
Jumbo Shrimp game, easier ones. I want to go. Every year I do my damnedest to get to a Reds game with my dad in Cincinnati. They're awesome. Did it this past year. It was great. It's just I grew up going to the ballpark with my dad. Big Red Machine style. Pete Rose. Pete Rose is the man. Love him. But I grew up right. It's like he's ours. Yes, he gambled. Everyone knew that before with all the lies for all the decades or whatever. Everyone knew he gambled. It's like, I don't know. Gambling, like, hey, I'm gonna make money because I'm a winner and I'm gonna bet on us to win. Like, if you bet on
you think that's true, though? You think Pete Rose always bet on his team to win? Because he said, I bet, but I never bet on the Reds. And then he said, I bet on the Reds, but I only ever bet on us to win. And then they said, well, if you only bet on them to win some nights, then you're playing. They said, I bet on us to win every night. Do you think that's true?
I haven't heard all of that. I sort of, you know how you ignore some of the things of the people that you love in life, right? You just accept them for who they are, and you love them for the awesome things that they've done with their life.
That guy got a lot of base hits.
Effing Hustle, right? He got
the
base
head first
hits.
Slide, made it famous.
He just played like a winner, and it was awesome to watch. And so, look, I think it's sort of why would you bet some nights and not others? That's probably the best, or even if you're betting on them to always win, that's probably the best argument I've heard of condemnation, so to say. I don't know. I don't know. Pete Rose is great. I love him.
Pete
I
Rose
love
is
the
great.
big red machine.
All-time hits leader.
I love the Cincinnati Reds. I try to go to a game. That, by the way, in Cincinnati, ticket prices are really low. That's, I end up combining some other trip up there, so there's a flight involved. But a ticket to a Reds game is really cheap. $10 you can get in. I mean, it's not.
That is cheap.
I mean, there's always extra tickets and all that stuff. So it's little stuff like that.
So here's something that the Reds game made me think of is that I think you can actually on your list of goals or resolutions or whatever or even like bucket list, by the way. I think it's okay to have something on there that you've already done, and this is something that I think it's often overlooked or misunderstood is that people put things on their list, on their bucket list or their to-do list or
like
whatever.
10 straight years of lose 20 pounds.
Man, you'd be nothing. You'd be 0 pounds.
200 pounds.
Yeah, I'd be negative 30 pounds.
Somehow you keep not being nothing, though,
I'm
right?
pretty sure it doesn't work that way. Bomber thinks I need a koozie. Look, the beer is staying cold today. It's not particularly warm. It's got a note on it. My goodness.
Yeah, there you go.
ODA. Okay, so Bomber just...
What happened to your awesome team
God.
koozie? God, that was so cool.
So I had.
I was always
if
so
any of you guys ever
jealous.
watched the show, you've seen I have this great ODA 323 koozie that I really cherish. It's my favorite koozie, obviously. And one night after the GORUCK show, my wife was here. And
you
she-
had your beer with your koozie, and then you
she,
lost it.
Well, she wanted to have a beer, and I said, okay, great. And I gave her a beer, and she didn't have a koozie, so I let her have
Man, I just gave you a way out that you didn't
my
take.
koozie. No, this is the truth. The people need to hear the truth. Even Jenny, she knows the truth. And so she had a beer, and she, I guess, finished it and threw the can away and left my koozie laying around somewhere here at the PX. And the next day I came in, I was frantically looking for it, and it was gone. So I don't know if it got chucked or if someone saw this awesome team koozie sitting around and thought, one of a kind, can't buy it.
It's gonna come up.
You know the GORUCK patch culture, right? Hey, if there's a GRT out there that's got my freaking ODA 323 koozie, send it back, okay?
The gods are angry.
I'll make it worth your time. You don't
The
want that
gods
koozie.
are
It's not your
angry.
koozie, it's my koozie. Someone's got it. Anyway, it's not Jenny's fault, it's whoever took its fault.
So now look at this.
So
This is your ODA replacement koozie. There you go. Awesome.
God,
It's almost as good because it's got Bomber's handwriting on it.
it's fine, I have one other team koozie that my man Mike Vitra, if you're watching, gave me from ODA 312, which was,
Now you got to really protect that one.
yeah, so that was at my house. It's never coming to the PX. I only drink out of it at my house because I can't afford to lose 2 team koozies. Then I'd be down to 0, and that'd be a whole thing.
So
Anyway, we were talking about doing
bucket
stuff
list,
more than once. Yeah.
adventures, what?
Yeah, well, I think so.
Resolutions, yes or no?
Yeah, so the point
What
behind
does resolution mean?
the doing something more than once or not, I think that we can get a little caught up in putting things on our like to-do list, and it's more important for us to check it off our to-do list, or we can get a little caught up in like saying we've had the experience or crossing it off the list or checking the box or however you frame that.
You got the selfie, you're good. Check.
Right, yeah. I mean, you have to, for one, even if you only do it once, you got to kind of immerse yourself in it and appreciate it while you're doing it because, you may never have a chance again. And it's certainly much less about documenting it, and it's much more about kind of really embracing it. I think that should be, if you've heard us blab on and on the internet, like I think we've driven that point home pretty hard, but I'll just say it one more time. But I also think that some of these things are great, like going to a Reds game with your dad. Why not put that on your list every year?
It is.
Just because you've been to a Reds game with your dad
Yeah.
doesn't mean you can say like, I did that. I went to a Reds game with my dad. It was an awesome experience. They won, and so that I'm out. Like, no. And it's the same with your kids. It's the same with your wife. It's the same with all these types of things. I don't think those are any less important or should be any lower on your list of things to do this year or do this month just because you've already done it before or maybe you've even done it several times. Like, still, maybe the most important thing you do this year that you accomplish is get to that Reds game with your dad. I don't know. I'm not going to decide that for you, but the fact that it's new and novel or that it crosses something off your list or it affords you an opportunity at a party to say you've been to Machu Picchu.
You can't go to Machu Picchu every year,
Yeah, I mean, these things are what make up your life. You know, there's this, I cannot remember who said it, but there's a really good quote about how we get frustrated sometimes with the things that we think are like, like distractions are kind of like the ankle biters of our life, like whatever it is, like washing the dishes, mowing your grass, etc. Like these things are somehow detracting away from your life. They're like in the way of you doing your life. But at the end of the day, like that actually is your life. So there's no reason you can't enjoy getting out and mowing your grass on Saturday.
It's called GORUCK. You put a rucksack on.
This has already been invented.
And you get your gains. It's easy. Call it training. That's simple.
Yeah, I just think that is it's such a powerful attitude, though, right? Like the idea that you might mow your grass with a ruck on, which, by the way, I have done also. That's the cleverness of mowing your grass with a ruck on and turning into like a training, opportunity. It's not so much that particular thing as it is the mindset associated with. Not everyone has the budget or the time necessarily to go to Machu Picchu or go to Thailand or those kinds of things, but you can make relatively normal things a priority and really get a lot of value out of it. And I think if you put it on your list of things to do, you probably get more value out of it because then you feel like, man, I'm actually living consistent with what my priorities are, what my goals are, or my resolution is in the case of this particular episode, right? Like, so why not? Resolve to go on a date with your wife every other week. Resolve to do some of those things too. Like, have the big goals. I mean, and look, Jason and I are never going to talk you out of having a big, kick-ass, hard to
go
get
big
to
or go home
kind of goal. Like, yeah, we're for that, believe me. And I got plenty of those. But I think you can. It's kind of like sales, right? Like you can't be a good salesperson by only landing big $1 million sales. It takes kind of all sizes. You got to go out and do a little at a time. You got to do the small ones and the medium ones and the big ones. I think these resolutions and goals are kind of the same way. Like your life's not going to be better. And you mentioned this. I think you mentioned this in your note, or maybe it was just you and I talking. Your life's not going to be that much better, like not as much as you think when you hit that big goal.
Yeah.
And in fact, there's a lot of evidence that people get like depressed. Like, people set world records in weightlifting and stuff, and then they're depressed because they're like,
the validation doesn't feel like you think it's going to feel for very long.
No, it's like the first night you get your Green Beret and you go and drink a bunch of beer and you're like,
man, it was
I'm
awesome.
the best.
Tusk Hardware downtown Hay Street, Fayetteville. I mean, king of the world. That's how I felt. And then that wore off real fast.
Yeah, I remember when I finished Ranger School, I got to be up in front, get my tab pinned on, and I felt really good for about 5 minutes. And then I had to get in the car with my son, who was just turned 1 year old, or was turning 1 year old actually the next day, and drive from Fort Benning to Fayetteville, tired and hungry, and like kid in the car in the bucket seat. It's like, hey, welcome back to life.
Yeah.
I bet that felt pretty awesome.
Oh yeah.
Guess what? Back to life.
Yep.
And I showed up my team with my shaved head, my scab on my nose, my eyes sunken into my head, and they're like, man, they sent us a like a concentration camp victim for a team leader. Great.
Straight from Ranger School. That's awesome.
Start all over again.
That must have been a really awesome New Year's resolution for you to go to Ranger School, huh?
I started on January 5th, so I guess it was. I guess it was a New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that's all I had to do that year.
So what else you got for this year then?
So as I was just kind of going on and on about, I've really been trying to focus a lot more on kind of the smaller, kind of day-to-day stuff. So one big one for me is to get down to see the kids at least every other week, because we see them once a month now. It's kind of the battle rhythm that we have. So I'm going to figure out a way, whatever it takes, to get down there every other week and see them. Make sure I never go more than a week or two without seeing the boys. So that's a big one for me. Another one is just like on the physical side. I just turned 39, so not quite 40, but I'm starting to feel. I was just talking with Lee. I went snowboarding this past weekend, and it just beat the shit out of me.
Yeah, good.
My kids are both better. I'd never been before.
First time snowboarding or skiing. Never skied, never snowboarded.
Yeah, and it was tough. And
you're the Florida boy that's not originally from Ohio. My dad used to take me. We go ski on ice and stuff. It was.
Yeah, so I got really beat up, and I'm certainly kind of feeling the pain from it. And I take generally pretty good care of myself, but this year I want to focus a little less on the numbers-based stuff that makes me feel good about myself, like how fast I can run a 5K or how much I can snatch or whatever, and a little more on if I can kind of move well and feel good when I get out of bed in the morning, I'm convinced that I'll feel a lot better a lot longer, and I'll actually be better at all the other kind of more aggressive kind of athletic endeavors if I take good care of myself. So it was one of my resolutions last year, and I did okay for a while, and I kind of got derailed, and I fell back into the trap of like going really fast and trying to go really heavy, and it hasn't beat me up too bad, but I want to kind of recommit myself.
I did yoga on New Year's Day. Felt pretty good.
Did you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I need to get back. I just bought like the 5-pack at the yoga studio here down the street, so I can get like back into it. So I need to do a lot more kind of maintenance on my body and kind of on myself than I have in the past. And so there's that. And then the other one is I want to do kind of what I would call a hard reboot every quarter. So like this little trek we're going on this weekend with the boys, that would qualify. I've got like $220 worth of JetBlue credit from a canceled trip to Puerto Rico. A couple of years ago, or a year ago, I guess it was. So anyway, I want to every quarter like go at least 2 days and just kind of unplug and go do something like we're talking about, like get a couple of buddies, and even if it's just go down to Cocoa Beach and meet a couple of buddies and surf, or just kind of unplug for a couple days every quarter. Which that sounds kind of lame to just have a couple days every quarter. But that's way harder than you think. When you have like grown-up responsibilities.
I think it sounds like a lot of drug deals with Jenny. That's what I think it sounds like.
Probably. Well, we're getting the first one, so Q1 is taken care of.
That's what I think it sounds like
this weekend. Yeah, so that's really important to me as well. Because the other thing that I've found is that a lot in the same way that if you take good care of your body and maintain it, you can actually be better at kind of the more aggressive sort of athletic endeavors. What I found is that if I can take a couple of days just to really truly unplug from things, it's kind of like slow down to speed up type deal.
Mentally or physically?
Well, mentally.
Yeah.
Mentally. Like I think it's easy to get caught up in you got so much to do and there's so many things you want to accomplish that you can't afford to possibly take a day off. But there's definitely a quality over quantity thing, and I know, and I've done it enough times now to know for sure that if I just unplug for a couple of days and bring my notebook with me, I come back ready, like energized to get to work and really go, but also generally like with new and fresher ideas to actually get stuff done that I would not have come up with.
It's the Thoreau
if I was just like in the grind.
You go out to Walden for 36 hours, you come back just in time to start slamming beers again.
That's
easy.
It. Yeah, right? So like you got to go like on the Thoreau kind of light, like accelerated. Can you do Thoreau in 36 to 48 hours?
That's what Litch was telling me before. He's like, that's everyone in Boston. It's sort of Thoreau didn't really go native in Walden. He's out in Walden and then he's back in time for happy hour.
He'd come back and have a beer and a butter sandwich or whatever.
Hey, good. Whatever. The older I get, the happier I am for people that figure out what works for them.
Yeah. So I guess mine are a little. They're kind of ordinary and kind of incremental, but I've been really good over the whole of my life at setting big long-term goals, and like I've always been pretty good. Like if there's task condition standards, if there's a goal to be set, like I can accomplish it. I don't have to prove that to myself so much anymore. So if I were to say I want to deadlift 500 pounds or whatever, I feel pretty convinced if I wrote that down and put it on the whiteboard in here and held myself accountable to it, like I feel very confident I could accomplish something like that if that were really my goal. I almost need to not go that route, if that makes sense. Because I know I can do that. I don't need to do that. I can kind of graduate from West Point. I can get a Green Beret. Like I can do the hard thing if I put it out there. What I need to do better now, I think, are the kind of every week, every month, every quarter kind of stuff that will lead to bigger opportunities, bigger goals, better life in the future.
You don't live your life on vacation. It's nice to have, so it's sort of, here's the nuance, we promise nuance. These stories you'll have on your deathbed that you want to remember, right? I mean, those are the sort of the big moments, in theory. I mean, hey, there I was, sometimes it's the quiet moments too. A life is a long place, but it's the sort of, it's been pretty long so far. We've lived a lot longer than they used to, and feel like we're just hitting our prime, It's great. So you live your life and you look back on it and you say, okay, that time I did this or that time I did that. I mean, I remember what they feel like, right? literally up all night in Paris, and we end up at Sacré-Cœur, and we're like just passed out up there-ish, right? And the sun's...
You can kind of get away with that in that part of Paris, yeah.
The sun's coming up, and it's just sort of, you know, it was awesome, right? I mean, but I remember what that felt like as a person, to be up there and what that part of my life felt like. And that was fun, you know, but it's sort of, you know, most of the things that make you happy, you can't just jump from one hit to the next, right?
Yeah, because well, for one, they're not going to make you happy anyway, which is kind of what we were saying about like the diminishing
If
return.
you are already happy and you go and do something awesome, it's going to be really awesome. If you're not focused on the fundamentals, if you're not sort of doing the maintenance work, which sounds not sexy at all, welcome to life, then if you're not doing those things that make you happy every day, you can't fix it with a vacation or any of this stuff that we're talking about.
In 2 years, I'm going to go on the epic surfing safari, and that's going to change everything for me. No, it's not. No, it's not. You're better off going out in the cold-ass water right now and surfing the 3-footers in Jack's Beach on a consistent basis and just having that be an actual part of your life that makes it good, rather than waiting for the big like bombshell to drop, and that's going to be the thing that fixes everything for you. So I guess that's kind of what I was saying for me too. And I've been able to blend the two reasonably well, but I know enough now to know I can set a big goal and I can accomplish it, and that's fine, but it's not necessarily going to bring me any closer to who I really want to be as a person or make my life really that much better. So doing the smaller things that don't seem as sexy on a more consistent basis, to me, that's what's important to me this year, at least.
Yeah.
And maybe that's not going to be the case every year. But we were talking this morning about, you know, if you've got things that are kind of bothering you that you want to, you know, whether you've got like people in your life or things in your life, or even if it's just like memories that are kind of, that you want to clean up, like this whole new you thing, which you were talking about.
The new you,
yeah.
Right? Just click here, just put your credit card down, it's going to be the new you.
Yeah.
Right?
Like you just can't sort of make that happen. But the other thing is, you can't make that happen by focusing on what you don't want to do or what you don't want to have or what you don't want to be and that kind of thing. And so this idea of like crowding that out through the everyday kind of inclusion of positive things is another thing that, like, just for me personally, I would suggest it to anybody, but I can only speak for myself, I guess, works really well. It's this idea that it's exclusion by inclusion. So if you don't want to like eat junk food anymore, or if you don't want to smoke cigarettes anymore, if you don't want to, you know, hang out with crappy people anymore, focusing on those things and saying you don't want to do that is a very bad way to go about. Like anyone who's been to like a rehab program, and I have not, but I've talked to enough people that have, will tell you like focusing on the thing you're not supposed to be doing is a sure way to eventually find your way right back to it, right? And so the way you're successful in making any real change.
It's like that scene from Swingers. I'm not gonna call her. I'm not gonna call her.
That's exactly.
And then you just keep calling her.
That dude, man,
right?
How much do you want to strangle that guy in Swingers? You're like, forget your ex-girlfriend, man. Like, God dang it. Right? His problem was, though, he wanted to move on. This is actually a really good analogy, by the way. He really, since we're flying into Vegas tomorrow.
Yeah, Vegas, baby, Vegas.
Vegas, baby. It's perfectly apt. So,
hey, and if the Grand Canyon's closed, then we're just going to remove that bucket list item about the Grand Canyon, and we're just going to stay in Vegas and,
No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're not. I don't even like Vegas.
You tried to fly into somewhere else.
Phoenix.
Who was it? Gus?
Gus was like, it looks like Vegas is like an hour closer.
Yeah, because, you know, he's got Google Maps and you don't, which is
Fancy
awesome.
technology.
Gus, love you. Can't wait to meet you, man.
Yeah, he was an 18 Fox. He's really good with the maps and the intelligence stuff. He's like, unless I'm mistaken, Vegas is closer. So, yeah, anyway, so we're flying into Vegas. But the dude in Swingers, he was so focused, he wanted to move on, right? He's like, I got to move on. I got to get over this, whatever. But he couldn't, because all he was focused on was his stupid ex-girlfriend, and he wasn't in any way embracing what was going on all around him, which his buddy Vince Vaughn was trying to get him to do. Like, look, there's beautiful babies. We're in Vegas.
Yeah,
we're going to a party. Babies. You know, all this stuff, right? But like, all jokes aside, the way to do this is you just crowd that crap out by including enough stuff that there's just no more room for it to exist, right? So if you've got bad memories, the best way to get rid of them is to make new good memories, right? Or if you have like good old times, but they're the old times, if you're kind of tired of sitting around and drinking beer and talking about that one time at band camp you did something. Just make some new good memories. Go on a new trip. Do a new adventure. That is the way you make this happen. If you have crappy people in your life, be proactive. Go out. Do a GORUCK challenge. Join the local run club. Do something and join the local Team RWE chapter. Meet some good people and then start hanging out with them. And next thing you know, you're not going to have time for the things that are dragging you down. So that's kind of a long way of getting to look, your resolution doesn't have to be epic, but it can lead to a pretty fundamental change in who you want to be.
Yeah, so this trip to the Grand Canyon, it's sort of, you had to kind of figure out who you wanted to invite, sort of filtered it down to Army guys, right? Guys you'd served with or with Army backgrounds, right? And so there's this idea, there's a stigma of sorts against people who have served. There's also the overwhelming support, but there's also the kind of stigma, right?
Yeah, it's a little bit of both, right?
It's a little bit of both.
Thanks for your service.
Yeah, from far away, I don't want to hire you because I saw Hurt Locker. And you're fundamentally broken and all you need is war and you're a war machine, got it. You're all the same. Where do I write my check? Anyway, if you sort of say, this idea of veterans getting together and doing nothing but talking about the good old days, here's a good place to do that. 17 miles away from the trailhead into the Grand Canyon at 17 degrees, I think it's supposed to be.
Yeah, you start
with the bonfire
yeah.
that we don't know if we're allowed to start or not, but we're going to have. That's going to happen.
If you work for the National Park Service, just look away right now.
Just look away. Just look away.
We may or may not submit our backcountry camping permit.
It's just going to happen. It's going to be okay. You're welcome to come. I'll have at least a 30 rack of beer, and life's going to be good. Okay, so that's a good place to talk about whatever you want to talk about with whomever you feel comfortable talking about those kinds of things with, and that's pretty cool because for us, it's I don't want to. We talk about our past a little bit more than we would if it didn't matter, right? Within the GORUCK context, I don't need to walk down the street with special forces this or special forces that. It doesn't sort of get me off at all. I would prefer to just have nobody ask me anything or thank me for my service or anything. That's just being real. Right?
Although your scarf does kind of give you away.
Yeah, it's cold. This is my solidarity with you folks up in the Northeast. God bless you.
I gotta pull one out of the Tupperware bin in the garage today. I forgot to bring one to Maine. I need to bring a scarf.
This is legit, man. This was $6.99 at General Jackson's next to off Yadkin.
Is that really where you got that?
Yeah. Man, he's very disappointed.
I'll bring you one that's actually from the Middle East, and you can wear that on the trip.
Yeah. Well, those ones are long gone. Anyway, you sort of say, gosh, where were we before? I felt all the shame, all of Blayne's shame levied onto me. I should have just kept it a secret because
That's about as authentic as my ODA koozie.
Yeah, it's about right. Hey, what are you supposed to do when you don't have one? But
at least this one's mine now.
Hey,
and that one's yours. So.
Let me just call up Afghanistan.com for another,
I'll try to activate one of my contacts in the Casa Ruzgan Bazaar, and we'll see if we can get one DHL'd over here for you.
But to your earlier point, right, it's sort of you make new memories, new things that you'll be nostalgic about. If that's 17 miles into the Grand Canyon, awesome. But it's not probably at 8 o'clock in the morning drinking screwdrivers at a whatever meeting you fill in the blank, right? That's sort of not the way that you want to talk about Nam or Iraq, the Bush 41's Iraq or Bush 43's Iraq or whatever. That's not the place. The place to talk about whatever it is that you've done is while you're doing more stuff, because time's pretty short. You put together a crew of people that without putting this together, we would not all fly into Jacksonville to go to a bar, right? It just
no, and it's almost, maybe I'm hedging a little bit, but it's almost the worse it goes, the better the story will be. I was talking with Jenny about that this morning, and
Yeah.
she's like, were you prepared for this? Like, do you have this figured out? And I was like,
Nope, intentionally so.
They're like, yeah, exactly. I'm like, no, I haven't done any planning, but that's on purpose. That way we'll have to figure out ourselves, using nothing but our wits and our knowledge of the jungle, you know? But you know, in all sincerity, I said to her, I was like, look, it's good to have friends that I know no matter how badly it goes or how many like snafus we have on the trip, it'll just make it better. Like, it's fine. Like, we were supposed to go to the Havasu Canyon and they decided to shut it down, so now we're going to the Grand Canyon. If we get like, if for some reason there's some park
Havasu
ranger that's
Grand, take your
like,
pick.
hey, you can't come in here, then we'll just be like, okay, we'll go over here and do something else. I mean, we'll figure it out. But
we'll flank it. And, okay, the official entrance is closed, not a problem.
Have you seen how big the
right?
Grand Canyon
And
is?
it's 17 miles in when we still have our bonfire, right? That'll be us. You know, that's how that'll work.
Yeah, and if anyone wants to come and meet us at the floor of the Grand Canyon, we'll be at the Colorado River by about lunchtime on Saturday, so
Yep.
we'll meet you there.
Great.
But, yeah, I mean, I don't even know what we were getting off on
think
that,
we
but it
were-
was kind of like making new memories and kind of this idea that you don't have to hang on to that one shining moment or that one really dark moment. Like, you don't have to hang on to any of that stuff. You can just keep having moments, and that's... We even talk about this in the GORUCK context. Like, we don't want to be the kind of company that just rallies around the Christmas buying season or selection or any, like, we don't want to have one thing where we stake our, put our stake in the ground and say, this is where we're going to like swarm around and make all of our hay. Like, that's...
How does it go? The biggest impediment to the next great thing is the last great thing?
Yeah, I really like that. Who said that?
I don't know. It was Da Vinci or someone like that. It
It was Da Vinci or Ben Franklin.
was one of those.
One of those two.
Yeah, I mean, it's
Someone
totally
that
true.
Isaacson wrote about.
Yeah, something like that.
But I think we would rather be the kind of company that has a lot of what we describe kind of internally as moments, rather than like big events or like big media.
All we do is one thing once a year, no thanks.
Yeah, like we would rather have something every month or even more often that creates a moment that we can get behind. That's a good story. That's something that's worth sharing. Because that's the truth is, there's stuff going on all the time that's worth talking about, that's worth sharing. If you just are willing to kind of look at it and get your arms around it a little bit, it doesn't have to be this one like made-for-TV thing you do.
Yeah, like next
once
year
a
when
year.
we do January is Battle of the Bulge month, that's going to be fun, right? Oh, you want a cold weather event? You want a badass patch proving that you did a cold weather event? It's January or whatever. Great, Battle of the Bulge. Theme it off of that. I mean, there's plenty of those because, Battle of the Bulge is great. Go watch Band of Brothers, favorite series ever. But,
Easy,
you
yeah.
can't remember that kind of stuff enough. So insofar as we're able to remember and help other people remember awesome things that a lot of great people have done, I think that's winning. And it's not just putting things in a box in November.
Yeah, for sure. Band of Brothers, by the way, came out in the late summer of 2001, right around when 9/11 happened, by the way. So the timing ended up being sort of, in some ways, serendipitous, that like this military series that inspired all this stuff came out right around 9/11. I was a brand new second lieutenant going through the officer basic course, and I was watching my BOQ room had HBO. So I was able to watch every Sunday Band of Brothers when it
Thank you,
came
American
out.
taxpayers, so that
Yeah,
Blayne
or
had
Knox,
HBO.
Kentucky. Yeah, that's right. I was able to watch it every week. I looked forward to it so much every week when it would come out, and I think I learned more about leadership. I think my leadership style as a military officer was inspired more by Dick Winters than anything I learned at West Point or any other course I went to in the Army.
Best well,
Pretty awesome.
Oh man,
hated losing.
Yep.
bomber. Yeah, it's bomber time. I think we've beat the resolution thing to death, guys. Have some good resolutions. Get after them. We're not going to knock them. We're not going to be too good for
I've
resolutions.
actually
around here.
just with all of our circular logic and all of our bullshit, I've actually just changed. My resolution is to lose 20 pounds.
I like that you at least acknowledge that we have a lot of circular logic and bullshit.
I want to learn how to spell Machu Picchu.
Machu Picchu.
I don't know how to spell it next.
By the way, my son, I got to tell you this. My son,
Yeah.
who's 8 and has done a GORUCK challenge, was watching on his iPod.
It's not a sore point for anyone. out
Yeah,
there.
no big deal. At the cabin the other day, and he Googles or he puts in the search of YouTube my name, and the GORUCK show comes. There's like some stuff on there, then there's the GORUCK show. And he starts watching the GORUCK show. So Dalton G, if you're watching this right now, like, look away. But he's watching, he's like, Dad, you and Jason are really funny. You drink too much Budweiser. So.
I've been accused of a lot worse.
Buddy, I'm sorry. Anyway, it's for you.
Dan Reagan mentioned the.
Wait, Bomber.
Oh, go ahead.
Bomber. What are your quote resolutions and stuff?
Drink more beer.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
But I thought it was also to give up beer, and you already succeeded in your resolution
For a
because you
day.
did it for one day.
One day.
That's awesome. Golf clap.
Golf clap for
Golf
Bomber.
clap.
So check that one off your list.
It's a horrible day, y'all. Dan Reagan, today we saw a post, shared it yesterday, stance on critical reviews of products. Would you like to share something about that?
Like what critical reviews? Wired.com publishing something that gave us a 7 out of 10. First off, 7 out of 10 is fucking bullshit, okay? This is GR1. It's not a 7 out of 10, right? I mean, it's kind of like saying Band of Brothers sucks, right? You're wrong. That's a fact.
Objectively, you're just wrong.
Objectively, you're just wrong. So, it's 3 pounds, it's too heavy. I mean, like, okay, let's make it out of paper mache and see how,
Papier-mâché?
Yeah, it won't weigh anything and it'll be awesome. It'll break like that. And when the wind or the rain touches it, everything will fall through. I mean, I don't know. I've read better reviews.
So I would say in general, like our stance on negative reviews, for one, depends a lot on the review itself. Like I don't have any particular stance on negative reviews in general. I mean, I think people are certainly entitled to their opinions. They can review anything they want, however they want. That's their opinion being shared with the public. On particular negative reviews, I mean, I think it kind of depends on who it's coming from and what they're saying.
How well is it written? Is there
Yeah,
actual logic associated with it, or is it just,
Yeah, so
or is the news, oh, I'm the one that's going to find something like, oh, I gotcha.
It's heavy.
I gotcha.
It's a 1000D Cordura.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
It's heavy. Gotcha. Negative.
Yeah,
Boom.
here's what, so Wired.com, there are a couple things that lend into this. One is if you're catering to a community that's all about, like, if you think about the Wired, it's like about optimization and those kinds of things. So it's easy to say something like GR1 is overbuilt. And I think we would actually say overbuilt.
I was
going to say
overbuilt.
we would just say overbuilt. So the fact that it's a ruck or a pair of pants for that matter or whatever that can and should hold up to much more strenuous environments, maybe than the ones that you are going to find yourself in. Like I think we're okay with that. I mean, I think we're at peace with the fact that there are a lot of people that are going to buy GR1 or any of our rucks. And they're going to use them in sort of an everyday, carry your laptop, go to work, urban environment. Like that's okay. We're fine with
What's
that.
the better laptop bag?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I've never had
Oh,
one.
inside the Pelican case, inside your JanSport? Okay, got it. Fantastic system.
Yeah. So
Whatever.
I think if the idea is that you're catering to the kind of the Wired.com demographic and you're saying, it's a laptop bag,
Which, by the way, they know better than we
heavy.
do. But,
Sure. Because that is not our kind of our core demographic, if you will. But we also know that's spillover is not even the right word. There are a significant number of people that are buying GORUCK bags to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But in the fact, I just think it's kind of funny that the stuff you're going to have in it is maybe going to be your laptop, your charger, and maybe your gym clothes. And the fact that the ruck weighs 3 pounds, like, so then who cares? It's still, the whole thing still only weighs like 8 pounds at the end of the day.
My take is if 3 pounds is too much for you, get tougher. That's my stance. Pretty simple.
The GR2 40 liter is 4.5 pounds.
Boom. Even tougher.
And I'm carrying one in the Grand Canyon on Saturday.
Bam. Toughest.
Yeah, but anyway, hey, negative. I don't care. I don't take any offense to negative reviews, really.
Like I just like well-reasoned reviews. What's a great one that was negative, that was well-reasoned? That would be the first question. I can't remember it.
Because there are none for GR1.
But I'm sort of, they do exist. I remember reading some, I'm like, look, if that's your thing, then this isn't for you. And here's the trick. We're not for everyone. Like, that's not the, all things to all people doesn't work. So if you want really lightweight stuff, show me the lightweight thing that won't break though. That's the thing, right? Those are the trade-offs. It's too expensive. Okay, got it. Okay, gotcha. It's too expensive.
Do we have to talk about that every
okay,
episode?
Got it.
Bomber,
It's
how much
too
does this hoodie
expensive.
cost?
So
It's
too
really
expensive implies that the author of these statements or whatever knows what, margins and costs and all of these things are, and relative. It's too expensive because you can go buy something so infinitely cheaper somewhere else. But is that thing as valuable? I mean, that's the valuable from a standpoint of you fill in the blank. And the you fill in the blank part, that's where the magic happens.
I saw a guy today I think it was on Facebook, say that he was going to will his rucks to his grandkids.
His green and black rucker, he's going to will it. This is a heritage item.
Yeah. I mean, it's to say nothing about
you know what? God bless the GORUCK Nation. We love you guys. Anytime something comes up, it's like, boom. And it's because, we're a part of that. I mean, they come here, what happens? It's like, hey, y'all want a beer? Let's go sit over and chat,
There's
right?
one right there.
Yeah, come on. Look, we got GORUCK Nation, they show up. Here we are, right? Just taking in the show. You want to sit on Bomber's lap? Right? Bomber's giving free rides.
Always.
It's like people show up and say, hey, there's beer in the fridge. What's going on? And, if the product were shit, none of this would work. But there's experiences and there's all these things attached to it that it's about more than just a thing. That's all great. But when the thing is objectively great and awesome, it's okay to just say it's objectively great and awesome. I mean, if it weren't, trust me, other people would be showing up to our events in that other thing. Because in the early days, we forced people to use GORUCK gear. And I traveled around with a big duffel bag or kit bag full of stuff, rucks that people could use as loaners. I had the bitch bag, the GR2 that I had set up. It's actually that one. It's eventually the zipper busted because they dropped it for the millionth time with all the weight on top of the zipper. Anyway, it was just, we forced it. But now people, at extreme circumstances of, hey, you want to comfortably carry weight over time and distance, that's where we excel. And by the way, that's what life looks like. Ever been on a trip? Ever been to an airport?
Oh, I don't want to talk about
Have you ever been to an airport, Blayne? How is Spirit Airlines for you this time, right? I mean, it's like time and weight over distance. It's called rucking, and it's really comfortable with our stuff, and it's less comfortable elsewhere. The ruck weighs 3 pounds. That's too much, get tougher.
All right, next question.
Okay, Dan's next question is much less controversial.
I like the controversial ones.
He wanted to know if after DC, he calls dibs for San Francisco to get a 50-miler.
Done.
San Francisco would be awesome.
Done.
That's
That's
San
gonna be
Francisco,
that's going to be a terrible 50-miler, though. 'Cause
you're
that
next
is,
up.
That is a hilly
Coit Tower, here you come. Golden Gate Bridge across, here you come.
Done.
It's going to be awesome.
Okay.
NorCal, we love you. Francesca, we love you.
She's watching.
Right? Francesca's awesome. She's awesome.
She has beautiful hair.
Ask all her girlfriends, they'll tell you.
Shannon Snyder, what are y'all's best and worst resolutions you've made?
I can't even remember mine.
That was in the email you couldn't remember.
I don't.
It's not
That's
on
the
death
thing.
list.
I guess that's kind of the point.
It's so most of them are attached to the word more. Do more or less. Do more of this, do less of that. Do more of this, do less of that. And it's so forgettable now that it calls into question what the whole purpose of the whole thing is. If that's what, do more of this, eat less to lose more weight. Fuck off, right? This is ridiculous. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's stupid. You don't want to do it. You won't do it. Guess what? Guess what happens to things that you're not fully committed to that you don't want to do? They get hard, and then you stop doing them. That's what happens. So this is ridiculous. pick something awesome that you want to do. Maybe and hopefully you have to train up for it a little bit. It might trigger some behaviors. Set a big goal. I want to stand on the top of a 14,000 foot mountain. That's an awesome feeling. I did that with Java at the first ascent. It's one of my favorite memories with that dog. You know, just being at the top of that, I mean, he made it up. It was awesome. And he did sort of double the distance because there was a pack of us, of course. And he was like back to front, back to front. We got up there, gave him all he just racked out up top, and it was like time to go, and he was fine, ready to go again. But he did double the distance. He practically climbed 2 14ers in one. It was a sight to behold. So it was a really, really, really great memory that I just cherish now.
Sounds
and
like it.
to do it, you know, it had to get trained up of sorts because it's not nothing to do that. So, you know, it was a lot of the rucking that I did at the challenges and, you know, a little bit of the background too. But I went from military super shape to zero working out for about a year, and that happened fast. And you sort of lose it pretty quickly. Your body remembers, but you lose it pretty quickly. And so getting back into the shape of being more active and leading more GORUCK events and stuff like that, you know, so there was some training involved. I felt ready, and it was great. We peak bagged a little bit, and that was fun.
Nice. I spent a New Year's Day one time so hungover from a really wild New Year's Eve.
Ooh, do tell.
Yeah.
We don't want the resolution. We want to know how wild it was.
Well, no, I can't get into that. My son watches apparently, and my mom. So
protect the guilty.
Yeah, God dang it. But I do remember spending most of the day just in agony, feeling terrible, and trying to watch like some college football games.
Where were you?
I was in Tampa.
Okay.
And it was bad. And I remember thinking, it's a brand new year. This is the first day of a brand new year, and I've basically wasted.
And now, where's my finger at? Oh, here it is.
God, it was bad. It was real bad. And so I resolved that day. I was like, I am not going to be hungover the rest of this year. And I held to it. Like I didn't like not drink beer or whatever for the rest of the year, but I made a resolution to myself that I was not going to waste. I was never going to have so much to drink that I couldn't get up the next morning and do anything that I wanted to do. That was my resolution. I was so upset with myself for basically squandering a whole day, the first day of a brand new year that could be anything you want that year to be. I felt like crap too, so that's why I was probably a little hard on myself.
I had that. I mean, I'm Irish.
And I was like, hey, that's it. I'm not. And so this year, if I have to get up at 7 or 8 in the morning and go do anything, I'm not gonna have so much to drink that I can't get up the next morning and do whatever I need to do. And so that was a good resolution, I think.
I've had that a little bit. I mean, it wasn't a resolution, but same kind of outcome, which, you know, hey, you can have resolutions any time of the year, right? Just discipline, right? Just discipline yourself, right? Whatever. Okay, so
my July 23rd resolution.
So it's
summer
summer
solstice resolution.
I'm Irish. I'm good at drinking beer. I'm good at drinking wine. I'm good at drinking whiskey, right? All of them. Take your pick. I'm good at it, right? When it comes to that kind of stuff, I'm good at being good, right? And so at a certain point, I was like, no, I don't really want to drink any more wine or whiskey or liquor. I mean, if I have one drink a year, maybe like a margarita at a Mexican restaurant on an island somewhere, maybe. I can't remember last time that happened, but maybe it'll happen, right? That's about it. So beer, I'll wake up whatever time in the morning, which usually is about 6 in the morning now with Ryan. And, you know, the day starts. And then I do that, and then I come to work, and it's great. So it's kind of the same deal, though. I don't know. Maybe you get a little older, you just don't want to sleep in until noon, and then, like, feel sorry for yourself and wonder where Ben and Jerry's is at the 7-Eleven, and, you know, do they have the, you know, the right flavor that I want, that I need? I need it, right, to get over my hangover and all this stuff. It's like, whatever. Hair of the dog, man. Hair of the dog.
Amen.
If you're that bad, just have another beer. You earned it. You earned it, right? You earned that punishment. So get after it.
Just take it.
If you're that hungover, hair of the dog. Get after it.
All right, what else, Palmer?
Ryan Bowles, he just commented that he does month-to-month goals instead of New Year's resolutions.
Yeah.
Month to month, awesome. That's what I heard. Good
Yeah,
stuff.
check
That's
in.
great.
Good.
Rick the Coastie, he knows who he is. He wanted to know, what do you look for in cadre outside of them being SOF?
Outside of being just soft. So there's an ability to connect with people, sort of, used to say smiles and pedigree. I mean, the pedigree is pretty cut and dry. You either were in special operations or you weren't. But some guys in SF are not a good fit for GORUCK cadre. They're awesome operators. They're great at their job. They're just the true kind of almost silent professionals. And like, you love them on your team. You want to be in a firefight with them. They will do their job. They will excel. But GORUCK requires another aspect that not everyone has, which is the desire to share your story. You have to create some vulnerabilities for yourself to lead our events successfully. So there's kind of a vetting process that goes along those lines of your willingness to share your stories and use your own stories to teach other people what, how they can learn something from this event and have time with a Special Forces veteran and, build that bridge between the military and the civilian worlds. Because, as a kid, Michael Jordan was my favorite. And one of those things where he said, I play so hard every night. It's probably a bit dramatized, but I play so hard every night because there's some kid in the stands that is watching me for the first time. It's probably more like you just play that hard because that's who you are.
Because you're the most competitive man on the planet.
Yeah, but there is that idea that you have this moment in time with everybody who's there with you, and we have to maximize those moments because people are spending time, which is the most valuable resource, but also money to come and have a great experience where they learn something that they take away to their daily lives. So got to make sure that someone can have that connection, and you can't do it as the strong silent type.
For sure.
You have to be able to tell your story and connect with people on a human level, no matter if they're young, old, black, white, male, female, veteran, civilian, take your pick, right? Gay, straight, doesn't matter, right? Can you connect with people with your stories? And that's what we look for.
Yeah, to that end, I would say too, just to pile on, is that you also don't have to be like the court jester to be, or like the biggest extrovert in the world to be good at that. And people that have done a lot of events know the cadre are all very different and kind of who they are as personalities, but you can figure out a way to make a connection with people and deliver your message that's consistent with your personality and who you are. And some people they're not made for that, but there are also a lot of people that if they're willing to kind of put in the work can find the ability to be good at connecting with people and kind of sharing that kind of stuff in their own way. Like we have some cadre that are just like, they're hilarious, they're easy, they just kind of have that easy confidence in front of people, and like you can sense it right away. And we have others that are a little bit more serious, probably a little bit more quiet, but still have maybe even a more powerful ability to connect with people because they're not just doing backflips and
you got to be part judge and part jester, though. You got to, at some point, you've got to entertain as well as educate, as well as push, as well as So it's hard. I mean, it's why nobody's done it before. It's hard.
Well, think about what it is in reality. I mean, you show up in a parking lot or a field somewhere at 9 o'clock at night, and one person walks out.
Yeah.
And just kind of says fall in or whatever, and then like they're in charge of making you have a great experience for the next 12 or so hours.
Yeah, try that sometime.
Yeah, like
just try it. See how that goes.
That's an intimidating thing to ask somebody to do, but these guys show up every weekend and do it, so it's a big deal.
Cool.
Last Monster had his birthday.
Yeah.
Lauren and Kit, I don't really know either one of them, but Lee is turning how old today?
32.
Let's look at Lee's face. I'm going to trade out.
Come on, Lee. This is your big moment. You've been waiting your whole life for this.
So you have New Year's resolutions and birthday resolutions.
I've made it. I made it on the GORUCK show. Check. I'm done for the year. That was it. That was the only one.
Hey, those are the kinds of resolutions that are great, right?
Yeah.
The ones you can easily do. You feel accomplished doing them.
That's it.
Yeah.
Birthday resolution? Like, is that a thing? That's not a thing. It's like they kind of go one and the same for me. I'm so close. My New Year's resolution: make my bed every day.
Oh, you
there.
saw the.
My dad sent it to me. Yeah. Like you know me. It's like I am not that organized. I'm not that like in a box. So I figure if I can start there,
So Lee's dad is a Naval Academy grad. What, 78?
about there.
So it's
Yeah.
January 4th. How are we doing?
3 out of 4.
3 or 4 weeks. Okay.
3 out of 4.
I'll give it. That's not bad.
Yeah, like
Oh yeah.
average that through the year, like I'm doing all right. Unless it's a product review, then it's total crap.
Lee, that's from Jonathan Dion.
Oh, thank you.
Rolling
Rolling
Rock.
Rock.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, it's got to be a New Year's resolution for you to chug a Rolling Rock on the GORUCK show.
Only if you do it with me.
Well, there's no more Rolling Rock.
No, there's plenty of Rolling Rock.
I'm just here to kick ass and chew bubble gum.
Yep.
All right. Anything else? All right. We'll wrap it up. Lee, thanks for joining us. Happy birthday, man. Welcome to the GORUCK show.
Happy to be here.
Bomber, thank you. See you guys next time.
Bam.